Hi, everybody, and welcome back. So I had a crazy dream last night, and in this dream, my mother was telling me that Trump had passed away and that JD Vance was currently in power. In the dream, I had kind of checked out from watching the news for a little bit, and so like 2 days, and in this quick time period, that had happened. And I asked my mom, I was just blown away. I said, "What? Like it happened? Trump passed away?" And I said, "How did it happen?" And she said, "We don't know. We think it was self-inflicted." And I said, "Is it related to everything that just came out with Epstein?" And she said, "I don't know." And so I woke up this morning and was like, well, you know what? I'm just going to read the energy of this because things have really picked up in the last couple of days, obviously, with these emails getting released. And so I did a full trance reading for you, looking at the energy, and then the file was corrupted. And then I logged into my other podcasting video software to get started, and it's totally unresponsive. So finally, I've landed here on Zoom after multiple updates and computer issues that never happen. I was just on Zoom last night on a client call. I am bringing you notes from my reading. So I'm sorry, I was hoping to bring you an actual in trance reading, but I do have the highlights noted here that I will be referring to as a reminder. I will start off by saying that, this is for entertainment purposes only. I am a trained clairvoyant. I'm also a licensed mental health therapist. And when I read energy, um, I start by looking at symbols and then pictures start unfolding for me. And I don't consider myself a predictor of the future. I consider myself someone who can pretty accurately read the energy of the present moment, whether it's seen, unseen energy. And from that, you can begin to look at what a likely projection will be. Not that it is for sure going to happen. We all have free will, but likely projection based on the energy right now. So let's go ahead and dive in. Grab your popcorn. Let's have some fun. Um, okay, so in this reading, I started by looking at a rose as a neutral symbol of all of the energy related right now in present time to the Epstein emails being released and Trump in general, and just kind of put it all in this rose and looked at it symbolically. And the first thing I'll say is that there was a ton of energy. Excuse me. There's a ton of energy. So many people are invested in this. So many people have an opinion about this. So many people have essentially kind of given up a lot of their energy in pursuit of truth, justice, whatever you want to call it. So, of everything I've read in my life, this is one of the kind of craziest, largest balls of energy essentially that I was looking at. And what started to happen really quickly as I said hello to this rose, I was looking at it, is there was this outer layer that almost looked like plaster, a plaster sheathing that began to crack. And then I was showed an image of someone who had been living in this room, this red room, for a long time. And then they bumped the wall and a little piece of paint came off. And they could see something behind it. And so they started digging a little bit deeper. And as they dug a little bit deeper, they realized that the whole time they thought it was a red wall, but it was actually this huge mural that had been painted under the red wall. And so as I was looking at this rose, what appears to be happening is we are truly at the early stages of what's going to be coming out in relation to the Epstein files. So if you're feeling like what we've seen is a lot, the energy is that there's actually a lot more coming down the pipeline, and that the facade that's been sheathing it is really accelerating in its deterioration. And what I saw happening is this plaster energy started falling away so that people could see what was really happening. It became very clear that there were two parties involved in this whole Epstein situation. And at first I was like, is it Democrats and Republicans? Is it like Congress and Senate. Like, what is this energy? Is it victims and perpetrators? And what it was is I was being shown pure energy versus non-pure energy. And when I say pure energy, it was untangled energy, energy that hadn't tangled itself up in the case in any way. So these would be everyone, whether it's left, right, male, female, whatever, who truly is not involved in a lot of these heinous crimes that have been happening for years or decades or however long this has been going on. And then there was a smaller group, luckily it's a smaller group, that was very involved. And within that group, I saw a ton of infighting happening right now. It's almost like there was a tornado of energy that was beginning to like disintegrate and break itself apart. So there are people who it looks like are in cahoots and really chatting right now about what's happening, and it's getting vicious. There's a lot of people who there's a lot at stake, and it's getting tense is what it looks like. But there was these kind of two energies like out here on the outside, these really big energies, and I can't tell if this is what this is, if it's a government entity, a big energy that's like a leader or something. And they were standing at the outside, kind of watching and courting into that group of the unpure energy, of the Epstein involved energy. So there's a sense of like they were like the puppet strings, like pulling the strings of what's actually happening within this small group of people that's involved in it. And so that was interesting. So there's clearly, in a way, it's like bigger than maybe I realized, and that there's this powerful energy that is kind of playing the puppet strings of what's happening. So, okay, what else? Let me look at my notes here. Let me take a sip of coffee. One thing that was coming up about the pure versus impure energy is that there's this group off to the side where they weren't involved in it. They're just the people who, no matter what they hear, even when all the plaster comes off, the writing is on the wall, as you would say, they are not going to believe anything. Everything is Trump is God, Trump is great. And that the message coming through around that was just don't waste your time. If you feel like you're losing your energy to trying to convince people like that, the energy was that they are inaccessible by the light which shines down and brings truth onto this planet. The light is how we connect with our soul, our source energy essence. There are people who are so low in vibration, is kind of what I was being shown, that they can't receive the light right now. So instead of focusing your energy on those people, just focus your energy on spreading the light throughout society and all the little pockets and people that can have it. Okay, so then I began looking more in depth at Trump and how is Trump feeling in the last couple of days as these emails came out. What was his energy? It was really interesting. I saw him drinking a lot, like drinking, it was like scotch or tequila or something. And the energy I was taking from that is not that necessarily he's actually drinking a lot right now, although he could be, I have no idea. The energy was that he was trying to just really keep himself unconscious, like awake but unconscious. He wanted to not actually be conscious of what was happening. And I saw him at his golf course with his head stuck in the sand. And it reminded me of, what is it? I still have trance brain going on, where they stick their head in the sand. And the energy was, if my head's in the sand, nobody will know, or if my head's in the sand, nobody will see. If I can't see, nobody else will see. So I would just say there's a certain amount of like self-fulfilling delusion energy in his space right now, which isn't surprising because he is a narcissist. So what I saw eventually happening, though, was that group, that tornado-y energy of the people who are unpure and involved, eventually that energy spins to him and kind of bumps him, and he's required to pull his head out of the sand. There will be a time where it's not an option for him to just say, I'm going to the golf course and I'm not responding to anything about these emails other than to say they're a hoax. That's not going to be an option anymore. And I asked if there will be if there will be like retribution for his involvement. What I saw in relation to that was about a year or two down the road, I saw him in court. I did see him in a jail suit, so it looks like whatever comes out, the energy was that it's bad enough he has to be held in jail or prison or however that works until trial. I did not ever see him serving. There was a sense of him leaving the earth prior to potentially sentencing or potentially actually serving whatever the sentencing is. It doesn't look like he'll ever actually serve time, but it does look like he will be held accountable in court. And again, this could be symbolic. It could be like the scales of justice, even after he's passed, will eventually um, come to light and he will be seen for his involvement. Um, and again, I'm not saying he was involved. This is the energy. The energy is that for whatever is going on with this tornado of Epstein energy, he's involved enough that there will be some repercussion for him. And another interesting thing that was coming up was around the victims. A lot of the focus so far has been on sort of these faceless victims. I know many of them have stepped forward, tried to do like their press conference, but there's a sense of the victims and energy. I was seeing the victims being held down, and then everyone who did this to them still being up here. But I see like a scales of justice rebalancing happening where the people who are untouchable can now essentially be held accountable, and the people who've just been pushed aside and told their voice doesn't matter or everything's a hoax, they will actually finally have a platform to share the atrocities. And society in general will grow from this. We will have to face this dynamic of dirty power that is in many ways running the United States and the planet at large. We're going to have to face that. And so I see this all in that energy of the crumbling of the plaster. We're going to see it. We're going to see everything for what it is. It's going to happen eventually. So if you're feeling frustrated or you feel like this is not moving fast enough, it does look like traction's building and that more is coming out soon. I asked for a timeline on kind of when everything comes out. And in general, what I'm getting is in the next couple years seems to be a pretty like safe timeline, although it looks like there is a potentiality where it could be the next 3 to 6 months, even quicker. It looks like there's something that hasn't happened yet that could happen that could speed things up, or it could be a little bit longer, but that eventually it's all going to come out. Okay, so that really is, let me see if there's anything else here. No, it looks like that's really all that came through. I really wanted to keep it in specific to the energy in present time around all of the Epstein emails that came out. So I hope you enjoyed today's reading. If you did, please like, share, and if you are going to comment, kind, friendly. We try to keep this a clear channel and a lovely spiritual place for everybody. Okay, bye everyone.